وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته يا شيخنا.
أبا عبد الرحمن، كيف الحال؟
الحمد لله يا شيخ.
يكون الدرس اليوم في سيرة عائشة.
نعم يا
على ما كنا عليه.
نعم.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا. إنه من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. أما بعد, we are reading from Siyar A'alām An-Nubala by Al-Imam Shamsuddin Adh-Dhahabi rahimahullah. Siyar A'alām An-Nubala is the print of Mu'assasat Risala that has the forward or the muqaddimah of Shaykh Dr. Bashar Awad Ma'ruf. It occurs in 28 volumes. It is about A'alām An-Nubala, our eminent, respected people of authority as far as Islam is concerned. Who are those respected authorities in Islam? A'alām. They are authorities because we follow what they say and do. We look at them in front so that we know our path to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to the messenger's message, alayhi salatu wasalam. They are our a'alām, and they are people of esteem, nubala. From amongst them were the companions of the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. In fact, they are the leaders of our a'alām an-nubala. One of those amongst the companions that Al-Imām Adh-Dhahabi has written a full biography for was our mother Āishah. In fact, in the fuller manuscripts of Siyar A'alām An-Nubala, the Imām Adh-Dhahabi rahimahullah started with Seerah An-Nabawiyya. Seerah An-Nabawiyya. He started with the Seerah of the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, and then he did the Seerah for Al-Khulafa'u wa Rashida, for Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, Umar, Uthman, and Ali. Then he started talking about the rest of the companions, then the Tabi'un, then the Atba'u Tabi'in, up, and up to the scholars who were just about a century before his time, up to the time of Al-Imām An-Nawawi. So we have a wide range of period where our scholars were discussed. This book, Siyar A'alām An-Nubala, in the print of Mu'assasat Risala, which was with the tahqiq of Shaykh Ibrāhīm with the forward of Dr. Bashar Awad Ma'ruf, occurs in 28 volumes. We have taba'at, we have prints of people who are not as able to be able to get the print of Mu'assasat Risala, the print of Darul Hadith. That is with the tahqiq of Muhammad Ayman Ash-Shabrawi. That one occurs in 18 big volumes. And there's usually a very big difference in terms of print, in terms of the content, in terms of verification, footnotes, and all of that. That makes it worthy that anyone who wants to purchase Siyar A'alām An-Nubala should get the copy of Mu'assasat Risala in 28 big volumes. It is from the copy, the print of Mu'assasat Risala, that we have gotten the copy that we read. And we are on some of the reports that was mentioned by Al-Imām Adh-Dhahabi rahimahullah in page 179 about some of what happened while Āishah was ill, radiyallahu anha. That report was from Zakwan Mawla Āishah. Our mother Āishah radiyallahu anha had a free slave whose name was what? Zakwan. He used to be referred to as Zakwan al-Madani. Mawla A'ishah radiyallahu anha. Zakwan was his name. He was the one who reported this incident between Abdullah ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhuma, Abu Abbas, when he came to visit our mother A'ishah radiyallahu anha. We had mentioned in the class previous that this hadith is one evidence that when an eminent male, when an eminent female falls ill amongst the Muslims, it is lawful for the eminent men amongst the Muslims to visit her. Abdullah ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhuma visited Aisha radiyallahu anha when she was ill, and that was of course in the presence of her awliya, the presence of her maharim, as we have seen in this hadith. The Quran, Abu Amr, he said, Ja'a ibn Abbas, I'm now reading from page 179. He said, Ja'a ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhuma yasta'zinu ala Aisha radiyallahu anha wa hiya fil maut. Abdullah ibn Abbas, Ja'a yasta'zinu ala Aisha. He came asking for permission to visit, to come into the apartment of Aisha radiyallahu anha, and at that time, wahiya fil maut. Our mother Aisha radiyallahu anha was at the point of passing away. The Quran said, "Faji'tu," when I came there, wa inda ra'siha Abdullah ibn Akhiha Abdur-Rahman. There was Abdullah, the son of Abdur-Rahman. Abdur-Rahman is the brother of Aisha. So there was Abdullah there who was a nephew of Aisha. Aisha is her, or is his paternal aunt. Aisha was the of who? Of Abdullah ibn Abdur-Rahman, the son of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. So the Quran said, he said, Have ibn Abbas yasta'azin. The Quran, Mawla Aisha, who came there, said, when I entered, I said, this is Ibn Abbas outside. Yasta'azin. He is asking for permission to come in. I am now on page 180 as we have it on the screen. The Quran, Mawla Aisha said, radiyallahu aw rahimahullah, is from amongst the At-Tibyān, or from amongst the Tabi'un. Abdullah ibn Abdur-Rahman was present. The Quran, a Tabi'i, the freed slave of Aisha, came into the apartment and said, ibn Abbas yasta'azinu. This is Abdullah ibn Abbas. He is asking for permission to come in. Qalat, our mother Aisha said, radiyallahu anha, da'ani min ibn Abbas. Leave me alone. Leave me as far as Ibn Abbas is concerned. Leave me alone. La hajata li bihi. I don't have any need at all for Ibn Abbas. Wala because I don't even have a need. I don't want him to make us fear. I don't want him to come and start praising me and saying good words about me. In the reports that was collected by Imām Al-Bukhari of this report, she said, radiyallahu anha, that akhsha an yusniya alayya. The reason why she was saying, leave me with Ibn Abbas. Why? Akhsha an yusniya alayya. I fear that if Ibn Abbas comes here now, yusni alayya, he'll be praising me. Like we mentioned in the class previous, this was the way of the early Muslims. They don't like to be praised. Even though they are people of praise, their statements were statements of praise. Their actions were actions of praise. But here we are in our own times. Many of the people, their statements are statements of giving, and Their actions are actions of belief. وَيُرِيدُونَ أَن يُحْمَدُوا بِمَا لَمْ يَفْعَلُوا. Still, they like to be praised for something that they have not done. This is different from the way of the early Muslims. Yet, there is value in Abdullah ibn Abbas praising Āishah, because the Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, that Ahlul Jannati man mala Allahu ubinayhi min fana'in nasi khayra. The people of Al-Jannah are those who Allah makes their ears to be filled up min mada min fana'in nasi khayra. The people are saying good about them. وَهُوَ يَسْمَعُ. And he'll be hearing people saying those good things about him. This is from the symbols of the people of Al-Jannah. We remember that the Prophet also told us in the hadith of Abū Nāsir al-Ghifari that he asked the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, أَرَأَيْتَ الرَّجُلِ يَعْمَلُ الْعَمَلِ أَرَأَيْتَ الرَّجُلَ يَعْمَلُ الْعَمَلَ مِنَ الْخَيْرِ وَيَحْمَدُهُ النَّاسُ عَلَيْهِ. What do you think? الرَّجُلِ, about a man, يَعْمَلُ الْخَيْرِ وَيَحْمَدُهُ النَّاسُ عَلَيْهِ, and the people are praising him for it. In another riwayah it says, وَيُحِبُّهُ النَّاسُ عَلَيْهِ يَعْمَلُ الْخَيْرِ وَيُحِبُّهُ النَّاسُ عَلَيْهِ. He's doing good deeds, and because of those good things he's doing, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was asked, ماذا رأيت? What do you see about a man? الرجل الذي يعمل الخير ويحمده الناس عليه وفي رواية ويحبه الناس عليه. Someone is doing good deeds and the people are loving him because of that. The people are praising him because of that. The Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, فَتِلْكَ عَاجِلُ بُشْرَ الْمُؤْمِنِ alayhi salam. تِلْكَ عَاجِلُ بُشْرَ الْمُؤْمِنِ. This is a congratulation. This is glad tidings brought forward for this Muslim. He is being given good news about good things, about goodness. It is brought forward for him. By who? By Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it is a good thing too. If a person is of goodness in his speech, is upon goodness in his character, and the people praise him, he does good things, people like him and praise him, it's also good. And then when a person is at the point of death, the scholars have said it, it is more appropriate that you are thinking positive about Allah, because Allah will give you what you hope for him. He says, أَنَا فِي ظَنِّ عَبْدِي بِي وَأَنَا مَعَهُ إِذَا ذَكَرَنِ. I am in the thoughts I will be to my servant as he thinks of me. So at the point of death, we are encouraged that we should encourage our brothers and our sisters who are passing away. We should give them hope of goodness. So Ibn Abbas's praise of Āishah, it's not just about praising. Is to make her feel hopeful about death and not become so scared about passing away. Radiyallahu anhuma. But at the same time, Āishah was shy. She does not like to be praised, radiyallahu anha, even though the women in our times, the men in our times, in fact, when you don't praise them, they are poised for a battle with you. Allah protect all of us. Someone is selling ordinary slippers. He wants you after you buy the slippers, she wants you to send a statement of praise. It is part of it. They want you to praise what they have done. They'll even be asking you for that comment. How about comments? The comments they are expecting from you is not a criticism. The comments they are expecting from you is not a sermon. Maybe they did not even done or package the product properly. That's not what they are expecting. They want you to praise the product, praise the process. In the generation, people can even pay to be praised. May Allah protect all of us. وقال Abdullah. So Abdullah ibn Abdurrahman, who was present with Āishah on that day, began to say to our mother Āishah. Āishah was saying, don't allow Ibn Abbas to come. After and yusniya alayya. I fear that he will come now and start praising. So Abdullah ibn Abdurrahman ibn Abi Bakr as-Siddiq said, Ya Ummah, inna ibn Abbas min salihi banik. Ah, mother, oh my mother, inna ibn Abbas min salihi banik. Ibn Abbas is one of your righteous children. Yuwaddi'uki wa yusallimu alayk. He is just coming to make a tawbiyah, coming to say bye-bye to you. Wa yusallimu alayki. And he will make a sleep to you. In some other riwayat, it said that Inna ibn Abbas ibn Ammi Rasulullah wa min wujuhil muslimin. Ibn Abbas is Ibn Ammi Rasulullah. The nephew is the son of the uncle of the Prophet, alayhi salatu wassalam. وَمِنْ وُجُوهِ الْمُسْلِمِينَ, and from the eminent people amongst the people of Islam. In yet another riwayah, from the things that Abdullah ibn Abdurrahman said to Āishah, so that she will allow Ibn Abbas to come, reminding her this is an eminent personality. In our own circles today, amongst we Muslims, especially many of us who say Salafiyah, we destroy the eminence of the eminent people amongst us. I doubt if any one of us can say this is one eminent person. Amongst the Muslims in the past, they had eminent people. Was it because those eminent people were ma'asumun? Don't forget, Ibn Abbas had Masail. I have a book, Masail in Farada biha Ibn Abbas. Issues that Ibn Abbas was alone in it. Ibn Abbas has a view that the marriage of Mut'ah was allowed. That was his initial view. He changed it. Radiyallahu anhuma. He had a view about riba nasi'ah, or riba al-fadl. He had a view of that between himself and Abū Nāsir al-Ash'ari. Ibn Abbas had to change that view. Abdullah ibn Abbas. So it wasn't as if they did not have views that people contested at that time. Ibn Abbas, but they left their eminence, they left their karama, they left their respect, they left their esteem with them. For us, who say we follow the ways of the early Muslims, the righteous Muslims, I doubt if we can have someone, one amongst us, that we can say this one is min wujuhil muslimi. May Allah protect us. So Abdullah ibn Abdurrahman ibn Abi Bakr as-Siddiq, who was with Āishah, was saying that innahu qari'un li kitabillah. Ibn Abbas is a reciter of the Quran. Faqihun fi dinillah. He's a learned person of fiqh in the religion of Allah. Fa'adhani lahu. Allow him to come. فَلْيُسَلِّمْ عَلَيْكِ وَلِيُوَدِّعَكِ وَلِيُوَدِّعَكِ. Allow him to come. لِيُسَلِّمَ عَلَيْكِ, so that he can say taslim and say bye-bye to you too, as it appears that you are passing away. قالت, in the second paragraph on page 180 that we have, our mother Āishah radiyallahu anha then said, فَأَذَنْ لَهُ إِنْ شِئْتَ. You know her radiyallahu. Okay, if you like, allow him to come in. قال Zakwan Mawla Āishah Abu Amr al-Madani rahimahullah. He said, Faja'a ibn Abbas. Abdullah ibn Abbas now came in. In some riwayat, he said, Summa sallama wa jalasa. He now made taslim to her, and then he sat down. He came to visit Āishah radiyallahu anha at the time she was passing away. Radiyallahu anha. Falamma qa'ada, when Abdullah ibn Abbas had sat down, he said, Kayfa tajidinaki? How are you doing? How do you find yourself? Like saying, how do you feel now? Kayfa tajidunaki? Or tajidinaki? How tajideen? How do you find tajideenaki? How do you find yourself? قالت بخير إن اتقيت. I am fine as long as I am upon at-taqwa. For the early Muslims, if the person is not upon at-taqwa, there is no fine inside. So she said, radiyallahu anha, بخير إن اتقيت. I am okay as long as I am upon at-taqwa. Then Abdullah ibn Abbas said, radiyallahu anhuma, wa anti bi khairin inshallah. You are also fine, ma. This is one of the adab of visiting the sick. You don't go and visit the sick and start shouting, hey, look at, in fact, you are lean. You are now lean. Your face is white. Your eyes are deep inside. Your nose is big. Your mouth, in fact, red. Don't do that. Don't say that because you cause more problem to the person who is sick. Ibn Abbas said, you also fine. He said, radiyallahu anhuma, wa anti bi khairin, inshallah, abshiri. Good news to you, Aisha. Abshiri, wa anti bi khairin, inshallah. You're also okay. Bi'idhnillah. For wallahi, I swear by Allah, ma baynaki wa bayna an tufariki. There is nothing between you and you're leaving this kulla nasabin, all these things. There is nothing between you and when you leave all these things, وَتَلْقَى مُحَمَّدًا وَالْأَحِبَّةَ, and you're meeting the Prophet. There is nothing between you leaving these pains. When you leave these pains, these pains that you feel, kulla nasabin, tufariki kulla nasabin. When you leave all these pains and trials, وَأَنْ تَلْقَى مُحَمَّدًا, and you are meeting the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, وَالْأَحِبَّةَ, and the beloved ones, إِلَّا أَن تُفَارِقَ رُوحَكِ إِلَّا أَن تُفَارِقَ رُوحُكِ جَسَدَكِ إِلَّا أَن تُفَارِقَ رُوحُكِ جَسَدَكِ. What remains is just for your soul to leave your body. Then you will connect with the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the beloved companions, and you would have left aside kulla nasabin. You would have left aside all these things that you feel. This is Bushra. This is Abdullah ibn Abbas giving glad tidings to who? To Aisha radiyallahu anha. There are a lot of masail here. You can pick from this that the view of Āishah is that when dead people die, their souls meet themselves. When dead people die, their souls meet themselves. Because Ibn Abbas is saying here that when you die, you will meet Abu Bakr, you will meet Omar, you will meet all these people. That is evidence that he has that view. That when a Muslim passes away, he meets the souls of those who were righteous like him or righteous like her. Radiyallahu anhum. Qalat, she said, radiyallahu anha, Iha ibn Abbas. Like making an exclamation of rejection. Iha. Like saying, what is this that you are saying, Ibn Abbas? What's all this big praise? If I die, I'll meet the Prophet, I'll meet Abu Bakr. Don't worry. You don't have the problem once you die. All these pains will stop. So these are righteous people. When they are told that death is a means of rest and meeting their loved ones, they are still afraid. You see unrighteous people will think, don't worry. Once you die, the pain has stopped. Who told you that? May Allah protect all of us. So she said, radiyallahu anha, Ibn Abbas. It's a statement of exclamation of rejecting what Ibn Abbas is saying. Radiyallahu anha. Abdullah ibn Abbas continued and said, Kunti ahabba nisa'i Rasulillahi sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallama ilayhi. You were the most beloved of the wives of the Prophet to him. Alayhi salatu wa salam. وَلَمْ يَكُنْ يُحِبُّ إِلَّا طَيِّبًا. And the Prophet would not have loved something except that something that is good. What does that mean? You are the most beloved wife of the Prophet to the Prophet. And the Prophet cannot love something except that that thing is good. What does that mean? It means that she herself cannot forgive her. You are forgiver. Kunti ahab. Kunti, like he said, radiyallahu anha, Kunti ahabba nisa'i Rasulillahi alayhi salatu wassalam ilayh. You are the most beloved wife of the Prophet to the Prophet. And the Prophet will not like something except something that is what? Tayyib. What does that mean? It means she is tayyiba. Radiyallahu anha. He went on and said, Saqafat kiladatuka laylat al-abwa. Your necklace fell down on the night of al-abwa. وأصبح رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم ليلقفها. The Prophet went on from the night till the next morning, ليلقفها, so that he could look for it and pick it up. فأصبح الناس ليس معهم ماء. So it happened that by the next morning, the people did not have water. I hope we remember this narration. فأنزل الله فتيمموا صعيدا طيبا. Then Allah sends down that verse in Surah Al-Ma'idah about making at-tayammum, using the sand. فَكَانَ ذَلِكَ مِنْ سَبَابِكِ. You were the one that Allah made the means to achieve that rukhsah from Allah. In other riwayat it says, فَوَاللَّهِ إِنَّكِ لَمُبَارَكَةٌ. After he said that, Āishah, Wallahi innaki la mubarakatun. Wallahi, you are really, really a blessed person. The meaning of a person's being mubarak is what? People will be benefiting from you. So when she is mubarakah, what does it mean? She's a means of benefit to a lot of people. This was repeatedly said about her when we read the story of her Ilada. We had done that. Ibn Abbas went on to say, وَمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ بِهَذِهِ الْأُمَّةِ مِنَ الرُّخْصَةِ. You were the reason. فَكَانَ ذَلِكَ مِنْ سَبَبِكِ. That rukhsah to make tayammum, it was because of you. فَوَاللَّهِ إِنَّكِ لَمُبَارَكَةٌ. I swear by Allah, you are a blessed woman. وَمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ بِهَذِهِ الْأُمَّةِ مِنَ الرُّخْصَةِ. That rukhsah came because of you. ثم أنزل الله تعالى براءتك من فوق 7 سماوات. Allah also revealed from above the 7 heavens. What did he reveal? Bara'ataki, your innocence, your freedom from useless ascriptions. Allah confirmed it from the heavens, min fawqi 7 samawat, from above the 7 heavens. فَأَصْبَحَ لَيْسَ مَسْجِدٌ مِنْ مَسَاجِدَ يُذْكَرُ فِيهَا اللَّهُ إِلَّا بَرَاءَتُكِ تُتْلَى فِيهِ آنَاءَ اللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ. Such that it became that لَيْسَ مَسْجِدٌ مِنْ مَسَاجِدٍ. There is no masjid anywhere from the masjids of the world. يُذْكَرُ فِيهَا اللَّهُ, where Allah's name is mentioned. إِلَّا, except that بَرَاءَتُكِ تُتْلَى فِيهِ آنَاءَ اللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ, except that your innocence and your freedom from dirtiness is recited in that masjid. آنَاءَ اللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ. Throughout night time and throughout daytime, when people observe Salah, when people make tilawa, they make tilawa talking about your freedom from indecency. Or like when Ibn Abbas started citing all these virtues of Āishah, radiyallahu anha, she said, Da'ani anka ya Ibn Abbas. Ibn Abbas, leave me alone. That is how our Salaf were. When you praise them, they don't like it. They want you to quickly stop. And we remember the head of them, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, radiyallahu anhu, Abu Bakr ibn Abi Kuhafa, radiyallahu anhu. One of the things that was commonly known was that whenever he was praised, what does he say? Allahumma la tu'akhidhni bima yaqulun. Oh Allah, don't hold me responsible for this praising they are praising me. وَغْفِرْ لِي مَا لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. Forgive me about my faults that they don't know about. وَاجْعَلْنِي خَيْرًا مِمَّا يَظُنُّونَ. Make me better than the way they think. So they are conscious of praise. And ikhwa, we had read a lot about praising people in Al-Adab al-Mufrad. Wallahi, wallahi. Many times when you praise people, you destroy them. Many times when you praise people, you destroy them. And that was why when Al-Bukhari in Al-Adab al-Mufrad spoke about praising people, the next thing he said is that be careful if you want to praise people. Be sure that that praise will not be a means of fitna to them. Yes, we can praise people if the praise will not be a means of fitna to them. Because for many of the people, once you praise them, the fitna has come. May Allah protect all of us. So for the early Muslims, they controlled that praise. The first thing about it is that they will not praise you except with something that is truly with you. All these things Ibn Abbas was saying about Āishah, they are what? They are things that are true about Āishah. The second thing about the praise of the early Muslims is that they praise you in a place where praising is necessary. The reason why praising Āishah was necessary, radiallahu anha, was that she's at the point of death. So when good things are said about her, it gives her hope that inshallah she'll meet Allah upon goodness. It reduces the pains of death. So that's why the early Muslims always say good things. The similar things were said about Umar. And in the same way that Āishah responded, Umar responded. In fact, in his own case, he said, all these things you are saying about me, I hope that Allah will accept it. So let's not be people who just praise people without need. If there's a need, you praise and you make it be regarding things that that person has. Don't praise a person with something that is not with him. And don't praise a person in a circumstance that you don't need the praise. Praise when it is necessary to affirm a point or to establish a fact or to bring about some benefits. Then you can do some praise. Otherwise, don't praise people so that you don't break their backs. Like the Prophet says, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So when Ibn Abbas was praising Āishah, he said, Da'ani anka ya Ibn Abbas. Leave me, da'ani anka. Leave me, O Ibn Abbas, away from this thing you are saying. For wallahi, I swear by Allah, لَوَدِدْتُ أَنِّي كُنْتُ نَسْيًا مَنْسِيًا. I would have wished that I am something that had died. I had gone past. People have even forgotten me instead of waiting for you to come and start praising me. That is on page 180. In the narration that followed, Imām Adh-Dhahabi cited it from Yahya ibn al-Qattan, as is in the Isnad. This hadith, this asar, we are reading now, they occur in Sahih Bukhari, they occur in Sahih Muslim, Musnad Ahmad, and others. Here now it says Yahya ibn al-Qattan, that is Al-Imam Abu Sa'id, Yahya ibn Sa'id al-Qattan. He was reporting from Umar ibn Sa'id, yes, Umar ibn Sa'id al-Nawfali, rahimahullah, who was reporting from Abdullah ibn Ubaydillah ibn Abi Mulayka. Al-Imam ibn Abi Mulayka, rahimahullah. He was from the students of Āishah. Abdullah ibn Ubaydillah ibn Abi Mulayka was from the students of who? Āishah, radiyallahu anha. And because of my own mindset now, let me say this about Ibn Abi Mulayka. Al-Imam Abdullah ibn Abi Mulayka كان مؤذنا في مسجد الحرام. Ibn Abi Mulayka was a muazzin in Masjid al-Haram. Abdullah ibn Ubaydillah ibn Abi Mulayka كان مؤذنا في مسجد الحرام وكان قاضي مكة في وقت عبد الله بن زبير. He was a qadi, was a judge. All of these go to explain the prominence and the eminence of Ibn Abi Mulayka. He's the one reporting this. He's also from the students of Abdullah ibn Abbas, student of Ibn Abbas, student of Āishah, muazzin of Masjid al-Haram, a court judge in Makkah. How is that? Rahimahullah. Abdullah ibn Ubaydillah ibn Abi Mulayka, Abu Bakr al-Makki, rahimahullah. He said, Anna ibn Abbas ista'adhan ala Āishah. He said Ibn Abbas asked for permission to come in to visit Āishah. وَهِيَ مَغْلُوبَةٌ, at a point when she was overwhelmed with illness. كَانَتْ مَغْلُوبَةٌ, she was overwhelmed at that time with illness. فَقَالَتْ, Āishah said, أَخْشَى أَنْ يُثْنِيَ عَلَيَّ, don't allow Ibn Abbas to come in. Why? أَخْشَى أَنْ يُثْنِيَ عَلَيَّ, I fear that he will begin to praise me now. فَقِيلَ, it was said, this qila here, who is the person? Abdullah ibn Abdur-Rahman ibn Abi Bakr as-Siddiq. Abdullah ibn Abdur-Rahman ibn Abi Bakr as-Siddiq is the person who actually told our mother about Ibn Abbas. What did he say? Rahimahullah, the Ibn Ammi Rasulillah wa min wujuhil Muslimin. Ibn Abbas is the son of the Prophet's uncle. Wa min wujuhil Muslimin, one eminent person amongst the Muslims. So, qalat i'idhanu lahu. Okay. Allow Ibn Abbas to come in. Faqal, Ibn Abbas came in and said, Kayfa tajidinaki? How do you find yourself? How are you feeling today? Faqalat bi khairin in ittaqaytu. He said, I'm feeling well as long as I'm upon at-taqwa. Ibn Abbas said, فَأَنْتِ بِخَيْرٍ inshallah. You see, we had read all of these when we read the full story earlier. So he said, فَأَنْتِ بِخَيْرٍ inshallah. زَوْجَةُ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ. You are okay, you don't have problems. You, the wife of Rasulullah. Alayhi salatu wassalam. وَلَمْ يَتَزَوَّجْ بِكْرًا غَيْرَكِ. And the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam did not marry any virgin apart from you. وَنَزَلَ عُذْرُكِ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ. And your innocence came down from the heavens. نَزَلَ عُذْرُكِ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ. Your innocence, your declaration of decency came from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَلَمَّا جَاءَ ابن الزُّبَيْرِ. Abdullah ibn Zubayr now came in. رضي الله عنهما. We remember Abdullah ibn Zubayr, the son of Asma. So she came into who? To her khala, to her maternal aunt, Āishah. Don't forget, he lived most of his life with who? With Āishah. فَلَمَّا جَاءَ ابن الزُّبَيْرِ. When Abdullah ibn Zubayr came, قالت له. Āishah was reporting to Ibn Zubayr, جاء Ibn Abbas. Ibn Abbas was here. وَأَثْنَى عَلَيَّ. And he began to praise me. وَوَدِدْتُ أَنِّي كُنْتُ نَسْيًا مَنْسِيًّا. I wish that I had lived and I had gone. كُنْتُ نَسْيًا. I wish that at that time they were praising me, I had become something that was forgotten. That is, I had died and I had not been in the place where I was being praised. You know, this is common with old people. When something happens to them and someone they love comes, they want to tell that person the whole story. If their son phones them, they see another beloved son, they start telling him the whole story. I have a direct feeling of all of this. May Allah preserve our parents. And Imām Adh-Dhahabi continued on page 181. He said, وَقَالَ الْقَاسِمُ ibn Muhammad. We remember Al-Qasim ibn Muhammad. Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr as-Siddiq was the one who was born at Dhul Hulayfa when they were going for Hajj by Asma bint Umays. So he was born there. His own son is Al-Qasim. So Al-Qasim was also from the students of who? Āishah, who is the son. Al-Qasim is the son of her brother. So she is paternal aunt to who? Al-Qasim. I hope that it is clear. Al-Qasim ibn Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr as-Siddiq said, اشتكت عائشة. Āishah was ill. فجاء ابن عباس. Abdullah ibn Abbas came to greet her. فقال يا المؤمنين. Ibn Abbas said, O mother of the people of Iman, تقدمين على فرط صدق على رسول الله وعلى أبي بكر رضي الله عنه. تقدمين على فرط صدق. تقدمين. You are proceeding على فرط صدق. You are proceeding to meet up from righteous people of truthfulness. You are upon a journey. Where will that journey lead you to? You will meet up with some righteous people. Who is that? Allah Rasulullah. You are meeting up with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Wa ala Abi Bakr radiyallahu anhu. You are going to meet up with who? With Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu. So this is the full report about the visit of Abdullah ibn Abbas to our mother Āishah radiyallahu anha. I think we can read one more narration about the virtues of Āishah radiyallahu anha. This time it is from Al-Imam Masruq ibn al-Ajda' radiyallahu aw rahimahullah, because he was a mukhadram. Masruq had accepted Islam before the Prophet died, but he was never alive to meet the Prophet. Before he came to Medina, the Prophet had died. So the best of what Masruq had was he observed Salah behind Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu. He also met Umar. He also met Ali. He also met Uthman ibn Affan. Masruq. He met them. He met these people. But his real teachers was Abdullah ibn Mas'ud and Āishah. In fact, Āishah took Masruq as a son. Masruq ibn al-Ajda. Āishah took her as a son. Some scholars mentioned how Āishah did that. Radiallahu anha. It was upon the likes of Masruq that she did Rada'atul Kabir. That's a big mas'ala in fiqh. Āishah would get Asma'u to provide Masruq breast milk. And by that, Āishah would be the maternal aunt to Masruq by foster, by breastfeeding. Do you understand? So as Asma'u will become prohibited to Masruq, Āishah radiallahu anha will become prohibited to Masruq as an aunt, maternal aunt by prostrate, by breastfeeding. So Masruq used to come to the house of Āishah radiallahu anha. Masruq ibn al-Ajda radiallahu anhu, very brilliant from amongst the Tabi'un, from the closest amongst the students of Abdullah ibn Abbas. And then he became from the closest amongst the students of Āishah. Let us hear what she said about her. Al-Imām Adh-Dhahabi said, أخبرنا أبو محمد عبد الخالق ibn Ulwan, أخبرنا ibn Qudama. This is Al-Imam ibn Qudama al-Maqdisi, rahimahullah. He is from the shuyukh of Al-Imam Adh-Dhahabi. Is this clear? This is أخبرنا ibn Qudama. سنة 11 و600 أخبرنا محمد بن البطي أخبرنا أحمد بن الحسن قال أخبرنا أبو القاسم بن بشران قال أخبرنا أبو الفضل بن خزيمة حدثنا محمد بن أبي العوام حدثنا موسى بن داود قال حدثنا أبو مسعود الجرار عن علي بن الأقمر قال علي بن الأقمر. You see the scholars of hadith. You see how Al-Imam Adh-Dhahabi has stated the link between himself and Masruq. He is covering up about a journey of about 800 years or 600 to 700 years. Dhahabi was 800. Masruq was 100 because he died in the year 60 years after Hijrah. I hope that I have retained that. Masruq ibn al-Ajda. So between year 60 and year 800. And Dhahabi is telling us the link between himself and who? Masruq ibn al-Ajda. But the person who reported this attack from Masruq was Ali ibn al-Aqmar. He said, كان مسروق إذا حدث عن عائشة. Masruq ibn al-Ajda. That was why Masruq, because of the closeness to Āishah, he is called Abu Āishah. He had a daughter, he named that girl Āishah. In fact, it was said that that's his daughter Āishah. Anything she asks Masruq, Masruq will do it. Anything, because of love for her, out of her closeness to who? Out of his closeness to our mother Āishah, radiallahu anhu, he learned a lot from Aisha. You will hear from him, Masruq ibn al-Ajda. He said, إِذَا حَدَّثَ عَنْ Aisha. When Masruq ibn al-Ajda reports hadith from Aisha, قَالَ حَدَّثَتْنِي الصِّدِّيقَةُ بِنْتُ الصِّدِّيقِ. Masruq will say, Siddiqa, the daughter of Siddiq, the one absolutely truthful with Iman. The daughter of the one who is absolutely truthful with Iman. Habiba to Habibillah, the beloved of the beloved of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Who is that he's talking about? Siddiqa bintu Siddiq, Habiba to Habibi Allahi, Habiba to Habibillah, the beloved person of the beloved of Allah. Who is that? The Prophet alayhi salatu. Habibullah here is the Prophet alayhi salatu. So Habiba to Habibillah is who? Aisha radiyallahu anha. Al-Mubarra'atu min fawqi sab'i samawat. The one who was declared decent from above the seventh heavens. Falam akzibha. I will never think that she ever erred. Lam akzibha does not mean that she's telling him. Lam akzibha. I will never consider her making khata. They usually mention kadhib when they have to talk about what? Khata. She does not make, she didn't make a mistake. So when Masruq reports hadith from Aisha, radiyallahu anha, he will say, حدثتني صديقة بنت الصديق حبيبة حبيب الله المبرأة من فوق سبع سماوات فلم أكذبها. He wants you, the listeners, to know the person who narrated hadith to him, to know the category of the person, to know the esteem of the person, to know the respect the person has, to know the status of that person, to know the rank of that person. What is that rank? She is Siddiqah bint Siddiq. She was Habiba to Habibi Allah. She was Habiba to Rasulillah. Al-Mubarra'atu min fawqi sab'i samawat. She was declared a decent woman from above the seventh heavens. Radiyallahu anha. She is the one who narrated to me. Radiyallahu anha. Yet Al-Imām Adh-Dhahabi also said, Al-A'mashu an Abi Duha, Al-A'mash Sulaiman ibn Mihran, an Abi Duha, Abu Duha, Muslim ibn Subayh. Muslim ibn Subayh is reporting from Masruq ibn al-Ajda, who said, Qulna lahu. Abu Duha said, one day we asked Masruq, Hal kanat A'ishah tuhsin al-fara'id? Hal kanat A'ishah tuhsin al-fara'id? Does Aisha, did she perfect the science of sharing inheritance? Why did they ask that question? They asked that question because not every knowledgeable person has perfected every aspect of knowledge. You may perfect Quran and how it is read. You may not even perfect tafsir. You may perfect tafsir and qira'at. You may not perfect ilm al-hadith. Riwayatan wa dirayatan. You may perfect ilm al-hadith. You may not perfect ilm al-fiqh. You may perfect fiqh and you may not perfect aspects of fiqh. So despite the fact that she has a good knowledge of fiqh and other aspects of knowledge does not mean that she perfected every aspect. Was why they are now asking, they want to know. هل كانت عائشة تحسن علم الفرائض? Does she perfectly know and understand the sciences of sharing inheritance? Masruq ibn al-Ajda, the beloved student and child of Aisha, radiyallahu anhuma, he said, Wallahi, I swear by Allah, لقد رأيت أصحاب محمد الأكابر يسألونها عن الفرائض. I swear by Allah, لقد رأيت أصحاب محمد. Masruq, I saw the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Al-Akabir, not the young ones like Anas, not the young ones like Bara bin Azibu, not the young ones like Abdullah ibn Umaru, not the young ones like Sa'd ibn Sa'l as-Sa'idi. Al-Akabir, the elderly ones amongst the companions, I saw them. Yas'alunaha anil fara'id. they come to ask Āishah about how to share inheritance. So he didn't say, oh no, she knows it very well. No. She used another expression that she was an authority in the field of inheritance. Many of our own sisters today, Allahu A'lam, all that is concerning them is how to buy and sell. Please, for the sake of Allah, let us pay more attention to knowledge. Oh women, this is your mother. Radiallahu anha, be like her. She was a qari'ah of Quran. She was mufassirah. She was a scholar of hadith. She was a scholar of fiqh. She even knows tib. Cut this leaf, cut this leaf, cut this leaf, mix it with honey. It will solve social problem. You will come back to it in this book regarding Āishah. Radiallahu anha. A woman that is like this, you will be more resourceful to the entirety of the ummah. How is it? How knowledgeable will she be that the elders amongst the companions come to her to ask her about faraid, about the laws of inheritance? She must actually have been an authority in the field. She must actually have been an authority. When elders will be coming to ask her questions, I hope that many of the women in our times too will be like this. But it's not a thing of the mouth, it's a thing of hard work. Hard work, resilience, steadfastness, and being sufficient with little, and not being deceived with this dunya. Many of the people have been taken away from this path because they want to run after dunya. But look at her, radiallahu anha. Allah blessed her with the khair of this dunya. Is there any khair better than being the one authority in the religion of Allah? وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا. Which job is better than that? When people are confused about something regarding knowledge in the religion of Allah, they come to meet you. Is there any better thing to be honored about in this dunya? And then in Akhirah, the Prophet guaranteed her, you'll be one of my wives inside Al-Jannah. So she's from the best of women. So for the sake of Allah, women, let us redirect our attention. Hear your mother. Your mother was authority in the field of faraid. Eminent men come to her to please let us go and ask Āishah. She will tell us. Radiallahu anha. If you ask what are women doing at home, this was what she was doing at home. She was learning, she was studying, she was full of knowledge. For 50 years after the Prophet died, she was spreading knowledge. Radiallahu anha. Nisful qarn, half of a century. Our own women too, Allah knows what they are busy with. They want to sell shoes, they want to sell bags, they want to advertise and selling chicken. Idul Fitri has come and buy jilbab. This is what many of the women are busy with in our own times. May Allah rectify us, rectify the women in our time, rectify the men in our time. Make us be good children. If we meet people like this on the day of Qiyamah, if we meet Āishah, take it, oh sister. If you meet Āishah on the day of Qiyamah, she asks you, how were you spending your time? What will you tell her? May Allah even make us be able to meet her. Otherwise, some people's path will not come across lie to lie on the day of Qiyamah. So if our paths cross, it is even good for us. But if she means, hey, come, what were you doing with your time? What will we say we were doing with our time? We are busy on TikTok and Telegram and WhatsApp. Abi? May Almighty Allah forgive us. Unless He forgives us. Unless Allah forgives us. I beg Allah to forgive all of us. Make things easy for us. Make us good khalaf for our salaf. Make us good khalaf for our salaf. Rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin. Abba Abdurrahman, can we come on to answer some of the questions that we may find to answer?
Jazakumullah khair ya Shaykhana. Barakallahu feekum.
Ameen wa iyyakum, Abba Abdurrahman.
This one says, Jazakumullah khair ya Shaykh. Can we say words of praise to people of our time whom we feel are righteous, even though they are not guaranteed Al-Jannah?
Yes, we can say words of praise to people in our times. It is not only people who are guaranteed Al-Jannah that we are giving words of praise. You can praise somebody. If you see him upon goodness, say good things to him. You hear what the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, that inna min ahli al-Jannah man mala Allahu udhunayhi min thana'in nasi alayhi dhi khair. From the symbols that a person is from the people of Al-Jannah is that Allah will make people be talking good about him. وَهُوَ يَسْمَعُ, and he will be hearing. So you can say good things about them, bi'idhnillah, as long as what you are saying is true. You don't say what is not true. Don't praise a person upon falsehood. If all you know about him is good, yes, say it. The second point about praising people, praise them when it is necessary. Maybe somebody is demeaning them. Maybe somebody spoke negatively. Maybe something happens. Maybe. No, this person, I know him like this. 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 So you can praise people when there is need for it. And the things you will say when you praise them are just those things that you know about them because Allah will ask you. May Allah forgive all of us.
Assalamu alaikum ya Shaykh.
وإياكم أبا الرحمن.
This one says, how do we deal with a stubborn wife who is always adamant and rarely takes correction instead do whatever she wishes to do? She is usually determined to the point of destructiveness sometimes.
I think this one takes a long time. The first thing is what Allah told us in the Quran. He says, وَإِنْ خِفْتُمْ شِقَاقَ بَيْنِهِمَا. Before that, he says, فَعِذُوهُنَّ. Make al-wa'z to her. Many men don't give sermon to their wives. Many men don't give sermon to their wives. They just want the wife to be righteous without sermons. I don't know how possible that is. You are righteous because you are listening to sermons. Your wife is not listening to sermons, yet you want her to be righteous. How will she gain righteousness? I'm not talking about madrasa now. Madrasa, she can be gaining sermons there. Madrasa, she may not gain sermons there. Just like as you are going to school, is anybody preaching to you to fear Allah there? Engineering students, is anybody telling you fear Allah? So depending on the teacher in the madrasa, he may just face his nahu, or he will just face his sarfu, or he will just face his fiqhu, or he will just face anything he's teaching you, mantik, anything. He may not tell you fear Allah, this, that. If you want to be hearing fear Allah, it is when you are doing tafsir. You'll be hearing fear Allah. It is when you are doing ilmul hadith, and that ilmul hadith you are talking about the rijal. You'll be hearing about fearing Allah. You'll be hearing about as-sikatu, at-taqwa. You'll be hearing about muru'ah. So that a woman is going to madrasa does not mean that her iman will be number one. She also needs mawaiz, admonitions of goodness. Look for a means for your wife to be hearing admonitions, and you are the one that Allah has given that job. To be the one talking to her, oh my wife, say Allah, is that. But some men too have problems. Is it an unrighteous man who will tell his wife to be righteous? A man is unrighteous, and he knows that the wife knows that he's unrighteous. Is he the one who will come and start telling her to be righteous? So the problems are multifaceted. It's not sometimes just the problem of the woman alone. Sometimes the man himself is in trouble. So the first stage, if the woman has these kinds of problems, if the issues is just from her, then make sermons to her over a period of time. Make sermons to her. Talk to her. Give her sermons. Then the next thing Allah mentioned after wa'az over a period of time, He says, وَهْجُرُهُنَّ فِي الْمَضَاجِعِ. Avoid their rooms. Avoid their rooms. Avoid their rooms. In fact, from fa'izuhunna is that if you know a person who, when he talks to her or when she talks to her, your wife will listen, tell that person to talk to your wife and rectify her. Be clear. Know what actually she is having faults in. You help her. Listen to her. She should talk to you. So after that, she's not listening. Everybody is talking to her. She's not listening. وَهْجُرُهُنَّ فِي الْمَضَاجِعِ. To avoid her bed. Yes, you are inside the house where you are not sleeping on her bed. After that too, she's not changing. She's still as she is. وَضْرِبُهُنَّ. You can now tap her so that she can come back to her mind that, hey, I've been talking to you, I've been employing, everybody has talked to you, you have not listened. Part of talking to is you can even report her to her parents, report her to her teachers, report her to her friends, so that all of these will come under fa'izuhunna. Then wahjuruhunna fil madaji. Then wadribuhunna. But Allah says, فَإِنْ أَطَعْنَكُمْ. If within all this process, a woman changes and begins to obey you, فَلَا تَبْغُوا عَلَيْهِنَّ سَبِيلًا. Don't begin now to find faults to still begin to punish her. So this is the point to approach clearly as Allah stated it in the Quran. Please talk to your wives. Many men don't talk to their wives. Talk to her. Tell her, you have this problem, you have this problem, you are doing like this, you are behaving like this, and it's not good. Talk to her. And then allow women to listen to sermons. Sermons change the mind so much. Don't you see that the Muslims, these companions, Omar, and many others amongst the companions, they were upon kufr and shirk. What changed them to become the people of Iman? Sermons. I always believe it. No matter how sinful a person can be, sermons can change them. That's why Allah told the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, وَقُلْ لَهُمْ فِي أَنفُسِهِمْ قَوْلًا بَلِيغًا. Talk to them in a way that it will reach their mind. So men, everybody go and learn it. How to be a good person of sermon to your wives, to your children, to your relatives, and the people around you. I hope this is clear about the Rahman. There's a second question here, that question you just asked. Can I ask that question? You have something else?
Yes, sir, you can ask it.
Can we prefix with Ubaidu while naming from the names of Allah without any restriction, as we do with Abdu? Yes, you can say Ubaidullah. We know people in the history of Islam, they bought Ubaidullah. And we also say Ubaidur Rahman. I am not, because I always have something to go back to. Did the people used to do that before now in Islam? Because nobody will come with a new thing in the religion. So if they used to do it now, if they did not used to do it, then no. What I'm familiar with is they used to say Ubaidullah, Ubaidullah, and there were many scholars. One of them was Ubaidullah ibn Abdul Karim. So I know Ubaidullah. But Ubaidul Fattah, I've not come across. Ubaidul Hakim, as we would with Abdul Hakim. So let us remain where they have remained. What covered them of goodness will cover us too. So say Ubaidullah as they say and stop there. Allahu Alam. There's a question here too about the Rahman.
No, yes, Sheikh.
There's a question here that seeking knowledge also from the good deeds of the last 10 days. Knowledge also, learning and teaching also from the good deeds of the last 10 days. Seeking knowledge is from the good deeds of every day. It has no time that it is not from the best of the good deeds. Learning. In fact, it was common among the early Muslims that they would say, Afdalun Nawafil Talabul Ilm. It was a common statement among the early Muslims. Afdalun Nawafil Talabul Ilm. You are in the masjid since after Salatul Fajr. You are reading Quran, making tilawa, making nawafil. Then between 4:30 and 6 o'clock, you want to hear a sermon that will further encourage you or that will help you be able to do that good deed better. It is part of the worship of the period of al-i'tikaf in the masjid when the i'tikaf is valid anyway. So, Talabul Ilm is part of it. Make nawafil, make tilawa of Quran, listen to tafsir, listen to shuruh, listen to issues of adab about your religion. All of these, they are part of the ibadat of the last 10 days. Yes, parts of it may be bigger and longer. You've been in the masjid, in Haram, in Mecca, in everywhere, listening, making tilawa of Quran and all of this. If you have an opportunity to find a way of asking questions about things that become unclear to you, then you should ask. If you find a means to getting more understanding of certain things you do in Islam, you should ask. You should do too. I don't think there's anything stopping the individual from doing that. In fact, it's a thing of goodness. Part of the worship of the time is, if you have an opportunity to learn. There is no time we don't learn inside religion. In our Islam, no time we don't find an opportunity to learn something or teach something. Allahu Alam.
Salawatullah alaykum ya Shaykh.
Ameen wa iyyak.
What is at what age should memorization of the Quran begin for a child? And
Age a child should begin to memorize Quran. There is the informal commencement and there is formal commencement. Informal commencement should be since the child is in the womb, since the child is inside the tummy of the mother. Informal memorization has started. You see all those Quran you are listening to, they stick to the brains of your child inside the womb. So when you give birth to the child to play Quran, read Quran, and then the child begins to grow, the brain has recognized the Quran. So gradually the brain begins to recognize the verses you read to her. So gradually all of these are informal. So when you make azkar in the morning, azkar in the evening, read it silently so that the child is hearing what you read. And then you blow her the breeze. So the child is hearing until age 2, age 3. She has started to call some things. Only Allah knows when children begin to read Fatiha. When? We don't know. Because they hear us read Surah Al-Fatiha. You just hear it. Only Allah knows when children pick Surah Al-Fatiha. Only Allah knows. So it is not when they started reading it that they started hearing it and memorizing it. In fact, some of them, they will do it alone on their own. Not at the time of Salah. They will tell you that they want to play. When do children learn Allahu Akbar? When? When did we teach them to say Allahu Akbar? You see, we don't finally teach them to say Allahu Akbar. They just pick it up. They would have picked many other things too, we don't know. So the first stage to learn the Quran is the informal stage. Make your house a Quran house where the Quran is read every day. Tilawa is done every day. When your child has a baby, I know one boy, when the mother was memorizing the Quran, she used to put her on her lap. If you hear this boy reading Quran now, you'll be very surprised. The mother used to place the boy on the laps. when she was made, she's hafiz of Quran too. It affects children a lot, positively. So all those ones are the informal. But the formal starts, the child should not be less than age 4. Let it be around age 4 when the boy starts. Formal. What does formal mean? You bring the child, tell him, sit down. Oh yeah, start learning. Read to me, age 4. Some children may not be clear in their utterances by age 4. You can still allow them up to age 5. So I'll say formally bringing a child on the seat to start learning the Quran will start between age 4 and age 5. I hope that I have answered that question. There's a question here, can we give zakah for mosque development? Don't give zakah for mosque development. Don't give zakah for mosque development. Zakah is not for mosque development. It's almost an ijma among the scholars, if it is not an ijma. Zakah is not for mosque development. Give zakah for Muslims to eat food. إنما الصدقات للفقراء والمساكين. Fuqara, poor people, let them find food to eat. والمساكين. Some people say they want to do investment. Nobody sends you investment in zakah. Give poor fuqara, fakir. Give miskin. Some people say no, they want to give zakah to somebody who by next year he too should be able to pay zakah. Who told you that? Who give you all this trouble you are giving yourself? Some people say, if the zakah, I don't want my zakah to just go, that person too by next year should be able to pay. Who send you that one? Allah. Zakah is so important, it belongs to Allah. It's a property of Allah. He said, bring the money. And that's why when you don't bring it, he will punish you. So the government of Islam, if you don't give, we take it by force. We bring army and soldiers to your house to collect that zakah. It belongs to Allah. To the extent that Allah shared it by himself. So if you say, I want to give you, so that you can invest, to each who can be paying zakah tomorrow, who send you that one? Allah. Allah didn't send you to give somebody zakah so that he too can invest the money to go so that next year he too can be paying. Who sent you that one? This zakah is lil fuqara wal masakin wal alimina wal gharmi al alimina al amilina alayha. It's for fuqara masakin. The fakir does not have what to eat in the next meal. Give him zakah. Let him feel some food for 2-3 weeks, 3 months. He's eating food. Masakin, he has what to eat in the afternoon, but tomorrow morning nothing. Give him zakah. After them, he mentions al-gharimi, those people who are indebted. The man is working, he's struggling, yet all his work and struggle, he's still indebted. He's working and struggling, he's still indebted. Free him from the burdens of debt. The debt is not debt of business, it's debt of day-to-day life. Debt of day-to-day life. As he's taking care of his children, one day one girl fell ill. He has to pay 110,000 in the hospital. This one, for it is all his salary, cannot do all these things. Free him from the burdens. Then al-mu'allafatu qulubuhum, those we want to draw their hearts to Islam. They are non-Muslims, but if we are good to them, they will become Muslims. Give to them. Wa fi sabilillah, on the path of Allah. He wants to go for jihad, he wants to go for talabul ilm. Jihad is two. Many Muslims, especially those who want to be doing fine, when they say jihad is the jihad of knowledge. It is true that knowledge is jihad, and jihad is the jihad of knowledge. But when you want to pay zakat, do you look for people of knowledge to give money? That time you say, no, jihad is not talking about that jihad. It's talking about people who are fighting war. It's talking about the two. It's talking about the two, because by these two, the religion is preserved. By those who learn, seek knowledge, and sit down with knowledge, the knowledge of the religion is preserved. When someone brings something that is one Felix, one Philip, inside, they say, no, this one is not part of it, they throw it out. It's jihad. Once the other one wants to compel the people to obey somebody apart and say, hey, no, stop that. They fight that jihad. So the jihad is the two. It is the jihad of sword and armament. It is also the jihad of knowledge and good preaching and spreading knowledge. So fi sabilillah, there is no masjid inside. Don't build masjid with zakah. Look for the people. There are people needing that money amongst fuqara masakin. In our environment today, for fuqara masakin, we take all your zakah. No matter how much that zakah is. Fuqara wa masakin, we take it. Our brothers are looking for investors and investments. Don't play with your zakah. Don't play with it. It is the money belonging to Allah, and Allah has told you who you should give it to. Don't play with zakah. It's Allah's money. May Allah protect all of us.
Ameen ya Shaykh. Jazakumullah khair.
Ameen, ameen. Abu Abdurrahman, can we call it a day here?
Now ya Shaykh.
I will come to class in the morning tomorrow, inshallah.
Barakallahu feekum ya Shaykh.
Barakallahu. Subhanallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.